Not a matter of if, but when crisis will rock your world. I'm Roshini Rajkumar, crisis strategist, licensed attorney, and host of The Crisis Files. In each case file, we dive into crisis to head off your calamities. A digital influencer and personal brand expert, Maha Abu-Elanein is CEO and founder of Digital and Savvy. There's much happening in digital spaces that are both helpful and harmful. Maha is here for the case file I call Digital Dynamics. Maha, with Australia banning social media for some, causing AI lawsuits all over the place in other regions, digital platforms are now more often the place of crisis and cancel culture. And you know a thing about crisis.
Yeah, I mean, I built my whole career in communications, and every brand is in an element where they have to think about their reputation. Could they get hit by a crisis? Is cancel culture going to hit them? What do we need to do? We live in a real-time world where something could be filmed with someone's iPhone and broadcast to the world globally instantly. How do you prepare for that? How do you manage your digital reputation? How do you manage your digital assets? And how do you think about your brand when it could be hit and rocked at any moment?
It's so true. And there are a lot of layers of this. So there are people like you who really understand the platforms. Yep. You're an influencer. You use them for yourself, for your clients. But then there is just like every Joe and Jane who now thinks they have this platform and maybe they're an influencer. There's use and misuse. What are you seeing as far as some wins when it comes to regular people using these platforms?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I encourage a lot of people to use the internet to build their reputations and to protect their reputations, right? The internet right now is for free. We may not have it be for free forever. So how can you use it to build your personal brand, to make money, to use it to drive influence? If you want to make sourdough bread, or you want to teach Pilates, or you want to teach yoga, or you make t-shirts at home and want to sell them, you can use it for good to actually use it as a platform. And an influencer defined today is not by the number of followers you have, but do you tell a good story? Do you connect with your audience? Are you authentic? Using that to sell and to become an influencer can be something that anyone listening to this podcast can do if they just want to put in the effort to learn how to do it properly.
I love that you say, tell that authentic story.
Yep.
Be yourself, grow the reputation. How do you protect yourself, though, when you're doing that from crisis rearing its ugly head?
Yeah. So first of all, don't have social media channels if you're not going to be able to promote and upkeep them and do them. So often what people do is they open too many channels that they can't maintain. So that might hurt their reputation because if you're not posting or answering comments or answering questions. So the first rule is if you want to build a reputation online, you want to have influence online, you don't want to be hit by a crisis, make sure that you're doing something that you authentically can manage and support every single day. Because once you're open, it's like an online store, an online presence, you need to be present. You know, people, I encourage them to have a social media platform or a social media page, but you don't need to open it everywhere. What kind of business are you in? Should you be on LinkedIn? What kind of business are you in? Should you be on Pinterest or TikTok or Instagram? Because you don't want to hurt your reputation. You don't want to be hit by a crisis.
Speaking of that, the platform formerly known as Twitter, X, has its own crises, yet it still is very much used by media, political figures. What do you think about that for business owners, for other people that are using social platforms?
Yeah, I think it has to do with who's your audience. Who are you trying to reach? So think about what platform you should be on based on what your objectives are. What is going to help you build your brand? What's going to help you reach your customers? And ultimately, you need to be able to add value to them. Who are you adding value to? What's your audience? What's your goal? That should determine which platform you should be on. X isn't for everybody. It might be for people who are in crypto, people who are in live sports, people who are covering breaking news, want to be on X. But if I'm a business or a brand and I have a product to sell and it's visual, then I need to be on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok. Or if I'm a business owner and I want to really reach business audiences and network with them, then I'm going to be on LinkedIn. It really depends on what your business is about or what you as an individual are about. and who are the audience you're trying to reach.
A lot of our viewers and listeners are on LinkedIn, or I would say they're business people. Many are on LinkedIn.
They have to be.
But not all of them are using it well. So for the business set, what is some of your advice on LinkedIn?
First of all, you need to be on LinkedIn. If you're on no platforms on the internet and you're going to pick one, I want you to pick LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not a job site. LinkedIn is where business relationships are. It's where your next job opportunity will be. It's where your next customer will come from. It's where your next investor will come from. LinkedIn is a business platform, and I want you to treat it as such. Now, let's say you're like, I don't want to be posting every day. I don't want to have a platform to use LinkedIn for that purpose. Then I want you to think about when people Google you, what will they find? Have a LinkedIn profile because Google basically indexes to the most search pages. So LinkedIn will always come up first. So make sure when they Google you and they look at your LinkedIn page, it's what you put there. Do you have a clean profile picture? Is it very clear what your bio is? Is it very clear who you are and what you do? It's practicing being good at managing your digital reputation.
Such great advice. What I say to my executive clients is people are looking at your LinkedIn while you sleep.
Yes.
What story is it telling?
Yes.
And Maha, you've just given us all some really great advice to go and do a forensic analysis of your own LinkedIn.
You have to. You have to do what I call a digital audit. So you should Google yourself. What comes up? Is it an old Facebook profile picture and page that you forgot about that has some high school, college photos you don't want people to see? What are they seeing? What are the search results? Making sure you go to google.com/Google Alerts and set up a Google alert for your name.
Great advice.
Every time your name is mentioned on the internet, you're going to get an email. So somebody posted a picture about you, somebody mentioned you in an article, maybe something is out there that you might not know it. These are all the things you need to do to protect your reputation. And we're talking today about digital dynamics, really understanding that we live in a digital world. And you have to know this stuff. It's not a nice to have. I really need to know how to protect myself. 24/7, the internet is on. People are looking up things. I want to make sure no one's using my name, posting my name, doing anything that I'm not aware of.
I really love that you say this because I have set up Google Alerts for several of my clients, but I have not set a Google Alert for myself.
You have to.
I mean, this is just game changing.
You have
advice.
to. And also, think of if your name is like McDonald, for example, it might be spelled MAC or MC. Put the versions that people might make a mistake so that you might be mentioned in a different reference to make sure you do it. For sure. It's just being mindful. What are the tips and tricks that we need to know to understand our reputation, to prevent a crisis, to know how we show up online, whether we want to have influence or just want to be normal private citizens? You have to know how your name is being used.
One of the things that I like to tell my clients is quarterly, you call it a digital audit, which is great. Quarterly, go in, and this is assuming because my clients, I help them with their profiles and then I help them try to keep it up. But go in every quarter, make sure the about section is still accurate.
Yes.
Make sure you've posted in the last couple weeks and what do you need to change? And if you put it on the calendar, it's not real unless it's on your calendar.
That's so true.
Put it on the calendar. You'll do it. Even 10 minutes goes such a long way. 5 minutes a week so that you are commenting on other people's posts, that you are posting yourself, all of those things. So really great advice. I really want to get your take on AI.
Yes.
Because AI is that, it's like the printing press for days gone by. But there's also a dark side to AI. How can we use AI for good, and what should we be watching out for?
First of all, I think AI is a terrific tool if you really want to invest time in learning how to use it, right? You aren't going to be replaced by AI. You're going to be replaced by someone who knows how to use AI. So start practicing. And I say micro moments, right? I need you to put 10 minutes on your calendar, your point about the calendar, every single day to try to learn something. Ask it a prompt or learn how to use it because it can be very valuable. If you want to create social media content and you want help, it can help you structure and scale your ideas or your stories. You can say, these are some of the things I love to talk about. Can you help me develop some posts that I can post on my social media? It can really be valuable to you. It can help with everything from helping you find the cheapest flights and routes and times to book your flights to how do I help it do my social media content? We have used AI to help us with some of the apps to like have professional note takers. We'd finish a meeting and then we'd ask the AI, can you give us the key follow-ups from the meeting? And it'll tell us. It saves you time and effort. So I feel like—
And time is money.
It is not the thing that people should be afraid of. It should be the thing that people invest in learning how to use.
What has surprised you in this digital landscape? Because this is your world.
Yes.
Over the last 5 to 10 years.
I think overall, I mean, it's hard. I mean, 5 to 10 years is a lifetime, right?
When you think about 5 lifetimes lifetimes online, right?
Yeah, 5. I mean, could we think about it? Like, we don't want to wait 3 seconds for a video to load. You know, we don't want to wait for the whole season of a TV show to come out. We want to download the whole thing now. Like it used to be, the shows would drop once a week. So you think about how AI has changed or how communications has changed. It used to be, you know, things would happen and it would be in the paper the next day or on the news the next night. Now we really live in a real-time world where news is happening now. We are reacting now. Things go viral now. People are understanding trends now. And I feel like the more the shift of the technology has entered our lives, I think we've seen that kind of in the last year or so, even last 6 months, people are like adopting analog life. Reading is up. Barnes & Noble is opening a record number of bookstores. People want live in-person events.
People want to feel other humans.
They want to feel connected. They want that connectivity. And I feel like because of AI and because of the technology and because of cell phones and stuff, one of the things that I'm coaching a lot of people about, which I want everyone here to think about, is how good are you at your communications? How good are you at storytelling? Because when we're able to be a good storyteller, we're able to connect with an audience. When you connect with an audience, you're able to build trust. When you're able to build trust, you will gain that influence. And when you gain that influence, you're able to add value to others. And that's the reason why being good at storytelling is an important leadership skill. And we don't think it's just for the PR person or the CEO to be good at it. It happens.
Everybody is a brand ambassador, whether you're a business owner yourself or you're part of any organization.
A company. If you work at a company.
You are a brand ambassador. And most of our viewers and listeners work for companies. And you have every opportunity when you walk out the door to work for that company, represent in an event, do a social post, show up at a meeting, whatever it is.
Yeah. And it matters. I feel like we want that connectivity. I want to learn from real experts. I want to understand what's their daily routine, what makes them tick, and I want to hear that story. And I think that's what attracts us to people that we follow on social media, that they might not know that they're mentoring us, but we really do see them as someone we look up to. We're getting expertise from them. We're learning from them. You know, our time is very finite, so who we spend it with matters.
So I want to ask you one other thing about the LinkedIn platform.
Yes.
One of the things I've noticed, and I'm a huge proponent of LinkedIn, I keep it up, but I definitely could maximize it better.
Yes.
So I'm really taking in your tips today. There was a time when the more personalized narratives, the confessionals, so to speak,
yes,
were on Facebook, Instagram. Yep. Now we're seeing more of those on LinkedIn, and some of them are like this long. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think being vulnerable, sharing your business failures, sharing your layoffs, sharing your setbacks matters. People want real life. And I want to learn from somebody who got laid off from Amazon, what they're going through. How are they looking for a job? How are they a career in transition? What are they doing to find a new role for themselves? How are they building up their new networks because maybe all of their name and identity and title was tied to that company? Those are things that everyone's facing. So I feel like that is why it works and why it's successful and why people connect with it, because they trust it because it's real.
Is there a best practice or practices, though, when you do share those personal stories?
Yeah, I think you need to think about the number one thing where I coach people on how to do your own communications and storytelling or building your brand or preventing a crisis is you need to add value to the audience. What's in it for them?
So even if it's about your layoff.
Yeah, but you need to say, this is what I'm going through and this is what you can take from it or what your lessons are. Like, always think about the audience, not yourself.
Audience analysis. It wins the day.
Yes.
And then really structuring that communication to who your audience is.
100%.
I want to wind down by sharing with crisis filers that you live a really cool geographic life. You split your time, your work. I know you have clients all over the world, but you split your actual physical body time between the Middle East and Minnesota.
Yes.
What is that like for you?
So I'm born and raised in Minnesota. I grew up in Mankato, like an hour and a half south of the Twin Cities. I went to school there, high school and elementary school, grad school. I went to Mankato State. Now it's Minnesota State University, Mankato. So I lived half my life in the U.S. And then I lived in Egypt for 15 years and Dubai for 9. And I moved home during the pandemic in 2020. I didn't want to be in lockdown, stuck there. And so I came back. I still have an office in Dubai. I still do a lot of work there. I like being from both worlds. I mean, Minnesota is home. It's really where I was born, where I was raised, where I'm connected. My family is here. So home is where my family is. But I've learned Arabic and I learned how to do business overseas. And
Very neat.
I'd been living here. So when I moved to Egypt, I didn't have any friends. I didn't have any contacts. I didn't have any networks. I didn't speak the language. I moved to Egypt at 27. I'm single. I'm fresh off the boat. How do I rebuild my relationships? How do I make friendships? How do I find a job? Like all of those things I faced.
That was a huge risk you took.
It was a huge risk I took moving there. And then I lived there for 23 years and I moved back to Minnesota when I was 50. Now I'm reversing the same thing. I don't have any friends. I'm 50 years old. I just moved here. I don't have a network. How do I rebuild myself? I've been living in a global market. Now I'm coming back to Minnesota. How do I rebuild?
Well, you have really rebuilt in the last 5 years.
Twice.
Yeah.
Twice.
Well, but in even just this last time.
5 years. Yeah, coming back
home,
in. Yeah.
Because I know that feeling after I left television news to move home to Minneapolis to start my business, even though it was my hometown, you're kind of a stranger. Everyone else has gone on and lived their life. So it is really amazing. And it also is proof of the American dream here, the Egyptian dream when you were in Egypt.
For sure.
So it is really about the savvy that you had in you and that you've worked into different parts of your life, personal and business.
Yeah, and you learn how to adapt to new cultures or build new relationships, create those networks, understand the nuances and norms of each city and country. Like, you know, American cultures, hustle culture, business, KPIs. And then when I got to the Middle East, it's all about slowing down, building relationships, breaking bread, get to know families. Like it's intertwined. Business and personal is intertwined quite a bit, where you would call people at home and I would never call a client at home at night, but that's common over there to like really get to know them and ask about their children's and their parents. And it's just understanding both of those dynamics. I'm enjoying tremendously now because a lot of people are excited about learning about Dubai and they want to learn about
what it's like. Place.
It's a hot place. It's got big business. It's one of the few economic blocks in the region, in the world that is growing. You know, China's cut off to the world. Europe is in declining. So what is a region that's up and running and spending and growing and digital and savvy and AI driven? I mean, you think about it, all the talent, all the celebrities, all the businesses want to open up in the Middle East. And it's an exciting region and it's very progressive and they're very advanced.
And you know it well. So the question I have is, in all of this, because you've lived in actual different countries, are people more alike than they are different?
100%. Everyone has that common humanity of like, everyone wants peace. Everybody wants to get along with their neighbors. Everyone wants to find their inner happiness and spend time. I think as we get older too, we value different things. But when I see in the cultures in the Middle East versus Minnesota, they're just homegrown people who care about their families and the communities that they live in. They want good education. They want to be healthy. They want to have access to the things that we want to have access to.
Well, Maha, we appreciate the life savvy as well as the digital savvy today. Follow Maha on Instagram. Check out her site, digitalandsavvy.com. She can help you with all this good stuff. Today's case file is powered by Goff Public. Reputation issues can arise quickly and unexpectedly. Prepare and plan before a crisis strikes with Goff Public, an award-winning public relations and public affairs agency. Your best defense is a crisis-ready culture that helps you spot potential issues, act swiftly, and reflects your brand's values while building trust with your audiences. Learn more at goffpublic.com. Rate, review, and subscribe to The Crisis Files on your platform of choice. Follow us on YouTube and Instagram at The Crisis Files. Visit thecrisisfiles.com for all 4 seasons of the show. I'm Roshini Rajkumar. Join me next time on The Crisis Files.